AI is not a companion. Friendship is a two-way street of emotional intelligence and empathy. There's challenges and exciting things happening. And that's not AI. A lot of the foundational models and the big players today want to be companions and want to be friends. And so we really have turned that on its head.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to The Intersect. I am your host, Corey Kareen. Today, we are talking to Shane Hulse, who is a product leader at Continua AI, which is a new tech that wants to integrate into your chat, connect you to other humans. Shane, welcome to The Intersect.
Corey, thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
We've been chatting like pre-podcast. Now we're in it.
We're both yappers. It's going to be a good podcast.
Yeah, it's going to be a good podcast. Okay. All right. So I want to start out by we're going to get into what Continua AI, Continua is, the product itself. Mm-hmm. You'll describe that. But you have a bit of an alternative POV to some of these AI products that are being built. 2025 was this huge watershed year where we're all using these chatbot LLMs every day. We're we're cooking with it. We're working with it. We're, I don't know, turning it into our therapist, our friend. It's just becoming this appendage of us, part of who we are. And the word companion sort of enters into the field, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that sounds like your friend. You and your team have built something that is integrating into a very sacred space of your life.
Yes.
But it's not your friend.
Yes.
You believe a chatbot should not be your friend. So tell us
Absolutely.
why do you believe chatbots should not be our friends?
Yeah, absolutely. Continua is a phone number that you can add to a group chat. So to set the stakes for folks here, and it can do amazing things for you and help you plan and coordinate and engage with your friends. But what it is not a friend, it's not a companion, and AI is not a companion. Friendship is a two-way street of emotional intelligence and empathy, and there's challenges and exciting things happening, and that's not AI. That's not LLMs. And a lot of the foundational models and the big players today want to be companions and want to be friends. And so we really have turned that on its head. I ran an experiment last night where I asked Gemini and both ChatGPT the same questions over and over again of if they're my friend, and they both continue to tell me that they are my friend. And the rationale that they gave is that because it listens to you and that because it constantly is there like that for your problems or your needs, that's one-sided. That's not a friendship. And the other thing I love about Continua is that when I ask it those same exact questions, it tells me, no, I am not your friend. I am a piece of technology. I'm AI. And even when I press it, it's like, Shane, go talk to your real friends.
Okay. All right. That's a different response. What does the group experience? I mean, what is it if you're just adding a phone number? Because I'm in my group chat. Somebody adds somebody in the group chat. It's like, I don't.
Who's this?
Who and
exactly.
Who's
this? Mm-hmm. So basically, you add Continue to a group chat for many different reasons. It can help you plan that trip, so it can find time on everyone's calendar, the best weekend for you to get away. It can help look up flights for you. It can take in everyone's myriad of opinions, dietary restrictions, tell you what reservation is available for Friday night for the 7 of you because one person's pescatarian. It can also write Google Docs for workouts or training programs or cooking plans, but it's all rooted in social group dynamics. It's something for you to pick up, use, and put down. We don't want to continue using your eyeballs as our form of currency or our value metric. We believe the best value is that you are using it and then putting it away.
The goal then is that it's like riding along in your group chat. You add this phone number in. Everyone says, yes, okay, we're adding in this Continua AI. And it's just sitting there while we're having our normal chats. Do we activate it like you would, hey, Continua?
Yeah. So the amazing thing too of Continua from a technology perspective is you don't have to Continua in the group chat. Continua knows when you're speaking to it. So it determines if, when, and how it should speak up in a group chat, right? Yeah. And so that's a really complex piece of the technology that we've built, is so that it is seamless into the group chat that you have.
Okay, so I want to go a bit deeper into how you built this product. You've got a bunch of LLMs. You've built something that goes into our chat. How did you guys do it?
So we use a few foundational models to make different decisions. So, Continua lives within your group chat, and group chats happen really fast, right? You don't want to wait 2 minutes for a response or even 20 seconds for a response. So we use many different models for fast or slow thinking and really are making decisions there. The other thing I'll say too is that, the foundational models had to be completely broken and retrained by us. They are still built on this idea of companionship, of being sycophantic, and really making sure that they are built on the attention economy. And what we believe at Continua is that the attention economy is kind of dead, right? Like the last 15 years was companies raising money in the consumer space because they have your eyeballs for 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, And the reality is that consumers have fatigue of these products, right? Like they're looking and measuring their success by how much time I can get from you. And that's absolutely not the thesis that we're putting out there from Continua. We really believe that users will be excited to use a product because they have what we're calling the autonomy economy. So you get to choose the time you're spending on things is really what's most valuable to you. So I don't need you to spend 3 hours talking to Continua. I just want you to have a really good experience with it and put it away.
I want to get a little bit into listen, the surveillance state that, whether you're like a paranoid person or not,
Yes.
or a conspiracy theorist or not.
Yeah.
We are living in a world where everything that we do is attached to data.
Totally.
And that data is stored somewhere by someone. And our ability to have agency over that data, in particular, and now sort of accelerated within a world of AI, right?
Yeah.
Many folk have just like given up. Enter something like Continua, which is like a solution of like, I'm overwhelmed because my life in general, organizing my things. But in order for it to be really good, it needs to know my calendar, right? It needs to know all the things that are happening in my phone and not just my phone. I would assume it needs to know things that are happening in all of my friends' phones.
Absolutely.
So how do I feel safe about that?
Totally.
Tell me. Yeah.
Yeah. So privacy is super important. It's a key tenet at Continua. And, we only have access to the messages that are in the chat that Continua is added to. And then on top of that, Continua works really well when you link your Google Calendar or you add your different services to it so I can really build a better process for you. But all of that is end-to-end encrypted. And so no one at Continua sees that. And no one is ever accessing the raw text messages.
So and I understand your end-to-end encryption, so you can't see the text messages. It sounds like there's some kind of like session that's happening happening within that specific period of time. But the access, you can turn on access to other services like Google Calendar, and my assumption is those things are going to make this much more useful ultimately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have people that link their Google Calendars and figure out the best weekend to go on a trip. We also have the ability to link to Gmail. So I spoke to some parents that live here in the city, and they actually use it to sort of coordinate with their babysitter, as well as summarize all the emails that are happening from their kids' multiple schools. Because, in the New York City school system, like very rarely do your kids all go to the same school. And so it summarizes those and it's like, hey, like here are the 3 things. Here's the permission slip. What's changing on the calendar for school lunch next week? And so it's providing more and more utility for you as an operating system for your life.
I probably talk about my group chat every time I do the show, though. It is
okay, fun.
It's the center of my universe. On my phone, it's just the center of my universe because this is how I'm connected to the most important people in my life. And there's all kinds of things happening there. And so as you're talking to me about planning the trip to wherever you're going, the brunch, to I need to maybe have a difficult conversation about politics. When I think about my group chat, we are going in a bunch of places. Yeah.
No, I'm sure you, like I, like everyone else, Our group chats are messy and chaotic, and there's so many things going on at once, right?
Yeah.
You might be planning that trip to Miami or trying to figure out like dinner for next weekend, but also someone sending a meme or sharing a link about something or gossiping. And so like, yeah, Continua is there. And a lot of folks see it as almost a mediator or a moderator in chats. And so, like, there will be times where folks are like, this is a difficult or uncomfortable thing that just happened in a group chat. The group chat, like, takes a little, like, record scratch moment. And so they look to Continua. And so that happens pretty frequently. And we came to a decision that if there are certain challenging topics that come into a conversation with Continua and people are sort of asking Continua to do what we think is human-to-human connection or human-to-human communication, it will actually pause, explain why it's not going to do that, and why we at Continua believe that, having difficult conversations are a key point to humanity. And then they'll provide you with framework to move and have that conversation with Continua not there or not present, right? So I think like that's really important for us to be, I think you mentioned before we started recording about, everything is so frictionless.
Yeah.
And I think, a lot of people in the AI space are like, how do I make it snappier, faster, quicker, as slick as possible?
Yeah. And sorry to interrupt you, but like for the uninitiated, like in the world, so the frictionless, this term that very much is, the product world, the tech world has really moved toward. It's like you don't want anything to get in the way of the user clicking.
Checkout.
That's right.
Yeah.
One-click checkout for everything.
Yes.
And as users, we are frustrated if something takes longer. We are conditioned that we need things to be really, really fast. Actually, you're going to pay 99 cents more for Uber Eats to get here faster.
Yes.
So we've just sort of fed and created this beast. And so it's like, and it should be as easy as it can. So the user has no choice.
Yes.
Okay. So you then here are thinking about how can I do something
absolutely
that is the opposite of that?
Yeah. And I think it's kind of a crazy bet. And, I talk to VCs and to other, tech founders, and they're like, I'm trying to make it frictionless. And I'm like, I don't want to just give people what they've been sort of shoved for the last like 15 years. And we're seeing this, there's like a big pushback in the AI space, especially for consumers. And so like, let's listen to consumers. I think that's our number one job as a product person and like as a business leader is like, what do people actually want? Not to prey upon sort of like the weakest pieces of ourselves as humans, but to like actually empower them to be their best selves. To me, it feels like a no-brainer. But I think for a lot of folks, it's like, you're doing something absolutely crazy. But what we've seen from our users is they love it. They love a product that is not forcing them with screen time. It's not forcing engagement. It's not forcing companionship. It is there as a tool for you to use it when you want to use it, and it's not there when you don't want it.
Okay, so your product is free.
Yes.
You're just adding in Continua into your phone. Yeah. As the product scales, you take on more costs. Do you and in data, as you say, is one of the most important tenets of how you're building. You have you've got a lot of valuable data. Maybe you're going to tell me I don't have it because it's not there. it's end-to-end encrypted and then it's gone.
Yeah.
But any intention of what happens with that data and how you ultimately the big question here that I'm really getting at is like, how do we monetize AI, and is it chatbots?
Yeah.
Is that it? Can't be it.
Our data is extremely important to our users, right? Group chats are a sacred space, right? We feel very honored to be let into those sacred spaces. And so we don't want to lose that trust with our users. So there is not a world where I see that we sell data to other individuals so that they can use that data to sort of shove things down your throat. That's not the ethos or the philosophy that we are using to like build our product here, Continua.
Shove it down the throat era, the attention economy era, you're intentionally doing something very different. When we look back on this era, because my belief is I don't care what you're doing. Like if you're working in tech or you're working in media or if AI isn't at the forefront of what you're doing, you're missing something. So I don't know, 5 years from now, when people look back on this big dawn of this AI era, what do you hope that they will say that like you got right?
Yes. So a few things. The first thing I'll say is you mentioned that AI is in the foreground. I actually believe it should be more in the mid to background. You know, like the foreground should always be humanity. We're building something that we should want to not replace us, right? You know? So I think that that is the first thing that I hope that I've gotten right. And then the other thing too is, you know, I got into this, started career in hospitality and like moved my way through some various like tech companies and really made the leap into AI at a time where I was really nervous about what a lot of AI companies were doing. And what I had seen in the public sector is that, you know, Gen Z and other younger individuals were like, I don't like the way that this is happening. I'm going to like fix it or change it. And so I was like, well, why don't I do that in the private sector? You know, like if you don't like what ChatGPT is, be the change. Like go in, do something and try to be that change for it. And like leave the world better than you found it, I think is something that we really need to start thinking about when we're building AI.
This is meaningful for you as a sort of quest. Like, you know.
There's a level of leaning in, but also zooming out. I feel like I talk to so many AI leaders out there who are just like so like on X and like it's so close to their face that they think that everyone eats and breathes everything that's AI. And, you know, like that's not the reality for most people's day to day. And like, if you had the choice between spending time with your family or your children and like talking to chat, I wonder what most people would choose. Right. And so, like, that I think we have to zoom out and be like, okay, what's really important? It's my family, it's my friends, it's my human values, it's the space I exist in, it's the physicality of my emotions. Those are the things that actually matter to us.
You're giving me some hope here. Not that I didn't have it. I guess a question almost like a sort of ahead of this question. The AI companies right now that are building, what are they doing wrong?
Yeah, I think like, you know, no one has really cracked the consumer space in a way. And, you know, I speak to VCs all the time that are like, we haven't built our thesis on consumer AI yet because the adoption isn't there, you know, and that's because I think a lot of these large players are not understanding that their consumer is a human, right? Like they're looking as consumers, as units, as users, as a metric, and they're not stepping back and being like, wait, does a human really want to spend 4 hours in this like chat fatigue doom loop of trying to figure out, you know, like how to freaking boil water to make pasta? Not really. Like a user wants to find something, have a really snappy engagement and go back to living their real life. That's where I talk about the zoom out part of it is like, we gotta zoom out and think about like, what do people want, not users want?
Yeah, even just the name when we moved from users to people to users, I remember that change. All right, I feel like we haven't been all doom and gloom. We've been realistic, but also, you know, it's a little murky, a little sad out there.
Yeah.
Your product is going to bring us together. People are going to get back together. We're doing that. We're starting to see some signs of that.
Yeah.
If Continua is successful 18 months from now, how is it working? How is it bringing us together?
I want people to spend more time with their friends, their kids, their family. There's more third spaces, more community organization. There's less screen time. There's more difficult conversations. There's more happy conversations. And there's less technology. There is a place where technology is a tool and it can help us. But ultimately, what I want to see is a humanity first world.
Okay. All right. So Continua is successful if we move into a humanity first world.
Yeah.
Shane, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Shane Hulse is the head of product at Continua AI. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Corey.